Would you introduce yourself?
My name is Michael Raley.
How are you employed, sir?
I'm an investigator with the Holmes County Sheriff's Office
How long have you been employed with the Sheriff's Department?
since 1998.
Would you tell us what your day-to-day duties are?
Well, I'm an investigator with the Criminal Investigation Division. I handle all sorts of crime, crimes against people, crimes against property, everything from burglaries and thefts to batteries, sex crime, child abuse, elderly abuse, and death investigation.
How are you affiliated with this case?
Well, on August 8th, 2007, I heard a call go out over the radio about a 7-year-old girl that was unresponsive in a swimming pool in Esto. I responded to the scene with my Chief Deputy, Harry Hamilton. Got there right after Larry and Travis Cook. When I got there, I saw Esto Fire Chief Cochran performing CPR on the little girl, Adrianna Hutto. I also saw her mother off to the right. She was kneeling down, crying, appeared to be upset. The cooks then took over CPR. There was some concern about how long the child had been in the water. Apparently they hadn't been able to establish a time frame. I went over to the mother and tried to find out how long she'd been in the water. All she could tell me was 15 minutes to an hour. I tried to walk her through what had happened to see if she'd give me a better time frame. She told me that she had taken a shower, and that had taken about 5 to 10 minutes, gotten dressed, that had taken about 5 minutes, and done some laundry, but she couldn't give a time frame on that. I asked her if there was anyone else at home, and she told me that her 6-year-old son, AJ, was inside, and her boyfriend's 14-year-old son was inside with him.
Now, did you have a chance to see the scene, sir, to observe the scene?
Yes, sir. About that time, the ambulance got there and loaded her up, and I went over and looked at the scene. There was a blue inflatable pool. There was a wagon off next to it, and a child's bicycle laying on the side there, and a child's toy rifle off to the left of the pool. The wagon had some dirt in it with a little bit of water standing on top, like some footprints had been in it.
Now, the mother, who was she identified? Were you able to get her name, sir?
Yes, sir. Amanda Lewis.
Is she in the courtroom today?
Yes, sir, she is.
Would you please point her out?
Right there.
Now, this scene, it was up there in Esto, Florida,
Yes, sir.
and that is here in Holmes County.
Yes, sir, it is.
What is happening to the child, Adrianna Hutto? Is she still on the scene when you arrive? What has happened to her by the time you went over? You've sort of glanced around, observed the scene. You've talked briefly with the mother. Where's the child?
Well, I was talking with the mother. I said the ambulance got there. They loaded her up. That's when I went and looked the scene over. After a few minutes, the ambulance transported Adrianna to the landing zone. They were going to life flight her out. Sheriff Lee had arrived, and he asked me if I would take Amanda over to the landing zone in case Adrianna came too. So I carried her over there.
Did you have any conversation with her on the way over there, sir?
When we got there, I spoke with her. I asked her what had happened. She told me that the kids had wanted to get in the pool earlier, but the pool was dirty. She had told them to let her take a shower, and they were going to play outside. She said she took her shower, got dressed, did the laundry, put some clothes in the dryer. When she got through that, she saw AJ outside playing in a tree. She asked AJ what Adrianna was doing, and he told her that she was playing in the pool. She said she told AJ to tell Adrianna to come inside, and the next thing she saw was AJ standing in the pool, grabbing at something, or standing in the wagon, grabbing at something in the pool. She said she called out to him and asked him what he was doing, and he told her that Adrianna was floating upside down in the pool. And that's when she ran out and discovered Adrianna.
Now, this was there at the landing zone or on the way over there to the landing zone?
At the landing zone, yes.
What happened after that conversation?
By that time, the helicopter had landed and taken off with Adrianna. Paramedic Greg Barton then came over, and he explained Adrianna's condition to her mother. and he then asked about a small bruise that was on the center of Adrianna's forehead. Her mother said she didn't notice a bruise, and she didn't know how she could have gotten a bruise.
Now, had you yourself had any contact with Adrianna at that time?
I had saw her as they were working on her, but I didn't notice any trauma to her.
You didn't get up there
No,
right
sir,
next
I
to her,
didn't
you were
close.
looking from a distance.
Correct.
Did you go back to the scene?
Yes, sir. After that, I left and went back to the scene and photographed the pool and all its contents. There were some items in the pool. There was a Spider-Man ball, a set of water wings or swim wings, whatever you want to call it. There was a white plastic dishpan.
Let me stop. You say you made photographs?
Yes, sir.
I'd like for you to look at these exhibits.
Yes, sir.
What is shown in this photograph, sir?
This is a view looking east from in front of the residence down the dirt road there.
You may want to speak over that way so they can hear you over there. Nope, you got to leave this right here and just turn and face the jury so maybe they can see this.
Yes, sir. This is a view facing east from in front of the residence there. You'll notice this part right here. It's been recently cleared, the right-of-way.
All right. Photograph 1B.
This is a photograph of,
If you would place it in there.
not quite, there we go. Yeah. It's a photograph of the pool, and there you see the wagon and the child's bicycle next to it.
Was it in that location when you arrived, sir?
Yes, sir, it was.
And you arrived shortly behind the cooks.
Yes, sir.
1C.
And again, another photograph of the pool and the wagon and the bicycle.
1D.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so this photograph was taken as the ambulance was still there working on Adrianna. There you can
So
see some of the items in the pool and the wagon.
Now, was the ambulance still working on her? So this was made before you actually went to the landing zone?
Yes, sir. This one. I'd taken a few photographs and then took some more.
What can we see in here? There's some objects in the pool, sir.
Yes, sir. You can see a child's ball. This thing here is a chlorine dispenser, dispenses the chlorine tablets. And this will be the water wings or swim wings, floaties.
1E.
That's another photograph of the pool, and again, you can see the ball, the dispenser, and the floaties, and the wagon there.
Well, we have this photograph up there, sir. 1F.
That is the toy rifle that I talked about. It was on the ground to the left of the pool.
Can you use the, I know you have another photograph in here that might show it. Can you use the prior photograph, sir, and give us an indication where this gun would have been?
See, it's actually this white car here. It would be just right around in here. Well, just a few feet off the back of that car.
Okay. Photograph 1G.
Yes, sir. This is a photograph of some toy tractors. They were on the steps on the side of the house.
And we will have some other photographs of the house later on. Is that right?
Yes, sir, you
And
will.
you can point out where these were located?
Yes, sir.
And these were the tractors?
Yes, sir. Those are the toy tractors.
And then
AJs.
photograph 1H.
Yes, sir. And this is a toy fire truck that was in front of the residence.
We'll just put those out of the way. This time, sir, I'm going to show you what is marked as photograph 6A. Now, was this made on what date, sir?
This was made on the August 8th. You can still see the paramedic bags there. And like I said, that's the view of the pool, the wagon, and the bicycle.
6B.
Again, that's a photograph made that day. This would be standing from behind the pool towards the road there.
Now, Investigator Raley, did you take any measurements of the pool that day?
Yes, sir, I did.
These next photographs, sir, states Exhibit 6D. Where was that measurement taken?
That measurement was taken right along in here on this corner of the pool, and as the photograph reflects, it's the tape measure showing the depth of the water, 32 inches on that side of the pool.
And would you, it's a little shadow there, but you can see it better in the photograph, but on the television screen there's a shadow. But
Yes.
would you put your pencil, the tip of the pencil where the water line is?
Yes, sir, right there. You can see the little bubble where the water's touching the
Right
tape
below
measure.
32?
Right, just a hair under 32, yes, sir.
Now the next photograph, sir. 6C.
Yes, sir.
Where was this photograph taken?
This was taken on the side of the pool next to the wagon, where the wagon was, and you can see, I think you see there the shadow where the water line is touching, and it indicates a depth of just under 36 inches.
If you would, sir, take that preceding photograph there and show us where you are referring that you made the measurement of.
It would be right there.
So that was the deepest end over there.
Yes, sir.
And that was 30,
Looks to be 35 and
35 and a half, I believe.
Yes.
Is that
Yes, sir.
correct? Again, if you would just,
that's correct.
was that right in there, sir?
That's it.
This next series of photographs, I believe, what is shown in here, sir?
That is a photograph of the items in the pool,
6E?
and you can see the toy ball is a Spider-Man ball, and one of the swim wings, and the chlorine dispenser. See some leaves and dead bugs in there also.
6F?
This shows the white plastic dish pan that was upside down.
You got to
Well,
pull it
there we go.
back.
There we go. The white plastic dish pan that was turned upside down.
6G?
Also, you see the dish pan and the other swim wing.
6H?
This is a photograph of the wagon. It's just a child's little red wagon. You can see the dirt, see the water standing on top of it, and boy, it looks like it might have been some footprints at one time.
What is this object right here, sir?
That was a broken glass bottle, a broken brown bottle.
6I?
This is a photograph of the height of the wagon. You see right there, it appears the floor of it is just a little over 10 inches, and to the lip of it there's 14 inches.
6J?
And this is a photograph. You can see the toy rifle here. It gives a relationship to where that car was.
Can you see the pool or the edge of
You can see the edge of the pool here. The pool set on top of a blue tarpaulin, and that would be the corner of the tarp.
I'd like to show you at this time what is marked as State's Exhibit 8 for identification. Do you recognize this? Take it down. Do you recognize it?
Yes, sir.
What do you recognize this to be?
That is the toy rifle, and that is what we took from the scene.
This time we would move this. Is this in the same or substantially the same condition as was when you obtained it that day?
Yes, sir.
We would move this into evidence, State's Exhibit 8.
Admitted as State's Exhibit 8.
Request permission to publish to the jury.
And you may do so, Mr. Raley, if you'll assist in doing this.
Just take this out. Take it out.
The bailiff is going to take the item and let you pass it down. Again, any item that's admitted into evidence, you'll be able to take to the jury room with you and look at it for as long as you'd like. But if you'll take this and individually pass it, look at it and then pass it down, be good.
After you finished the photography of the scene that day, what did you do then, sir?
I then left the scene and went back to the sheriff's office. Shortly after that, Sheriff Lee notified me that AJ's grandparents, Chuck and Brenda Burns, had contacted him about a statement AJ had made, and he informed them to bring AJ down to the sheriff's office to meet with us. Shortly after that, they arrived with AJ and took a tape statement from him.
Where did the statement take place, sir?
In Harry Hamilton's office at the sheriff's office.
Who was present?
Myself, Chief Deputy Hamilton, Mr. Burns, and Ms. Brenda Burns, and AJ.
Now, was there a recording made of that statement, sir?
Yes, sir, there was.
How long did the statement last?
There's an audio recording of it. It's about 44 minutes long. After I started the interview with my digital recorder, Major Hamilton turned on his video recorder, and it lasted about 30 minutes. It's a 30-minute DVD recorder.
Was he awake and alert when he was answering your questions?
Yes, sir, he was alert.
Did he seem to understand your questions?
Yes, sir, he seemed to have a good understanding.
I'd like to show you what is marked as State's Exhibit 3C. Do you recognize that exhibit?
Yes, sir.
What do you recognize that to be?
That is an edited version of the videotape interview with A.J. Hutto.
Approximately how long is this version, sir?
This version is actually it's total about 3 minutes long, one being, the first one's about a minute and a half, and the second's about a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
This time we would move this into evidence as State's Exhibit 3C, I believe.
Any objections other than those previously noted?
No, sir.
Okay, will be admitted as State's Exhibit 3C.
Request permission to publish to the jury.
Okay.
Yes.
I think I have turned this off.
You have to judge.
Yes.
My sister, she read me and sprayed something that makes everything smell good, and she didn't do this. She done the stuff that she didn't supposed to, so my mom got mad at her. So she threw her in the pool, and then she told her to go somewhere, and she said no, cause Mom's going to dunk over you. And then Mom had to go get in the car to go get Adrianna. And then Adrianna was trying to escape from Mama. And then Mama pulled her back in the car. And then once they got back home, Mama threw her back in the pool. And then she started drowning again.
All right, is that the first? Is this the second?
Yes, that's the first one, and the second one here.
Today? Who was in the pool?
Adrianna.
Did your mama get in the pool?
Adrianna was just in the pool with Mama. But Adrianna was laying like this and Mama holding her on the door so she wouldn't scream.
Today?
And so
Then what happened?
Adrianna started screaming once Mama took her hand off of Adrianna's face
Where were they at?
at the pool.
Why did your mama have her hand on her face?
Because she was dunking.
Now, that first section, how far into the interview was that, sir?
That was about a minute and a half into the interview.
And the other one, sir?
About 22, 23 minutes into the interview.
Now, if you would have a seat, sir. After the interview, what did you do, sir?
After the interview, I was informed that Adrianna hadn't survived. Then made arrangements to travel to Bay Medical Center and view her body.
And did you do so?
Yes, sir, myself and Major Hamilton.
Were you able to note any injuries on her body when you looked at it there at the medical?
Yes, sir. There were bruises on her head, her neck, and her chest.
Did you make some photographs there at the hospital, sir?
Yes, sir, I did.
I'd like to show you. Can you switch that back over? Hospital. I'd like to show you what is marked as State's Exhibit 4. Well, the others are. These are just. No, sir, no. That's fine. These are already in. This time I'd like to take all of these photographs. For the record, 4D, 4A, and 4F. They're marked for identification. Do you recognize those photographs, sir?
Yes, sir, I did.
And then do you recognize these others that are previously entered into evidence? 4B, 4E, 4G, 4H, 4J, 4M.
Yes, sir, I recognize them.
Do they accurately depict what you observed when you arrived at the hospital on the afternoon of August the 8th, 2007?
Yes, sir, they do.
We would move those into evidence, Judge.
Any objection? Okay, the photographs that have just been identified by the officer will be admitted as they were announced to have been marked. I believe some of those already had been admitted.
Yes, sir, Judge. Everything but 4A, 4F, and 4D.
Okay.
Would you step over here? Yes, sir. Camera. Starting off with 4A.
Yes, sir.
What do we see in this photograph?
That's one of the first photographs I took when I entered the room. That is the body of Adrianna Hutto.
4B.
That's a photograph of Adrianna's head, and you can see the bruises to her forehead.
4H.
That is a photograph of Adrianna's right shoulder, and you can see some bruising on her shoulder there.
4D.
That is another photograph of Adrianna's forehead, and you can see the 3 bruises.
4E.
Again, that's another photograph of Adrianna, and you can see the bruises across her forehead.
4G.
That is another photograph of Adrianna's head and shoulder. You can see it's like a little bruising there, some bruising there, and some bruising on her chest also.
4F.
That is another view of Adrianna's head.
4J.
That is a photograph of Adrianna's chest, and you can see 2 bruises on her chest there.
4M.
A photograph of her
What
leg.
did you do next in regard to this case, sir?
Took a tape statement from Adrianna's mother,
Who would that be?
Amanda Lewis.
I'd like to show you. I'd like to show you first what is marked as State's Exhibit 16A for identification. Do you recognize that item, sir?
Yes, sir.
What do you recognize that to be?
That is a CD containing a statement of Amanda Lewis.
Where was that taken?
That was taken at Bay Medical Center at 7:41 p.m., just shortly after Adrianna had died.
Who was present when the statement was taken?
Myself, Major Hamilton, and Amanda.
What room or what facility was this taken in, sir?
It was in a conference room, or actually a training room, a little classroom there at the hospital.
I'd like to show you what will be marked as State's Exhibit 16B for identification. Do you recognize these transcripts, sir?
Yes, sir.
What do you recognize them to be?
That is a transcript of Amanda Lewis.
Of the interview? Have you had a chance to go over this, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right, is this an accurate transcript?
Somewhat, yes, sir.
Okay. A portion has been deleted, is that
Yes, sir. A
correct?
portion had to be edited out, yes, sir.
This time, Judge, we would move what is marked as State's Exhibit 16.
16A.
Any objections, Mr. Smith?
A's the stage. No objection.
Okay. State's Exhibit 16A will be admitted into evidence at this time.
Now, will these transcripts assist the jury in being able to follow along with this, sir?
Yes, sir, they will.
But before we get to that, was this statement freely and voluntarily given?
Yes, sir, it was.
Was any pressure, threats, or coercion used in order to get Ms. Lewis to make this statement?
No, sir, none whatsoever.
She agreed to answer your questions?
Statement of her own free will.
Now we would request permission to publish this by plate and statement, Judge. And we have copies.
Okay, let me talk with counsel at sidebar for a second. If you need to go ahead and put that in, that's fine. Okay, members of the jury, you're about to be able to watch State's Exhibit 16A, which is the...
Listen to it,
I'm sorry. The bailiff is going to be giving each of you a copy of the transcript that the officer identified. The transcript you're about to receive, I don't want you to look at it. He's going to go ahead and give them to you. I don't want you to look at it until we start playing the tape. The transcript is not evidence. The tape is the evidence. The transcript is merely intended to aid you in understanding the tape. At the conclusion of the playing of the tape, the transcripts will then be taken back up by the bailiff.
Today's date's August 8, 2007. Time is 7:41 p.m. Sergeant Michael Raley of the Holmes County Sheriff's Office. Also present is Major Harry Hamilton and Miss Amanda Lewis. We'll be here at Bay Medical Center in Panama City, Florida. Amanda, if you could give me your full name and date of birth for the tape.
Amanda Elaine Lewis, birthday September 7th, 1979.
Okay. Amanda being I'm a deputy sheriff in the state of Florida. I got the ability to swear your oath if you would raise your right hand. Swear statement about it gives truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell me about what all happened today? Can you take us through that?
Yes. Well, I got home from work. I work 11 to 7. They were watching cartoons. I told them if they'd let me take a little nap that we'd get up and get ready and go do their school shopping. They were good. I took my nap. I got up probably around 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock, somewhere around in there. They wanted to go outside, so I let them go out. They were out there playing. They, come in and out. Around close to the incident, they had went outside. They were playing in the front yard, in the driveway with some of AJ's trucks. And I went out and checked on them, and I told them I was supposed to take a shower. And then they could come in, we'd get them bathed, and then we'd go do their school shopping. And I went and took my shower, put some towels in the washing machine, and some in the dryer. And then I walked to the front door, and I couldn't see Andrew, and he was in the trees beside the house, climbing in them. And I asked him where Adrianna was at, and he said she was playing at the pool. I said, well, go tell her to come in so we can get ready to go, and we'll go get your school stuff. And then we were going to go to my stepmom's. And he went to go around the house, and I went to the sliding glass door at the back and looked out, and I didn't see her. And when I looked at him, he was on the wagon, reaching over in the pool, raking at something. And I asked him what was he doing, and he said that Adrianna was upside down in the pool, and she wasn't moving. And that's when I run out there, and I made him go get Alan Michael. And then when he came out, I told him, I said, take AJ in the house and keep him in there. And I was trying to get her out because she was close to the middle of the pool. And then I leaned over and reached over, and I managed to get her foot, and I pulled her out and got her on the ground. And I tried to do CPR as I was calling 911. And then that's when she dispatched the fire department. They got there and they took over. And then after that, that's when everybody, started getting there.
Okay. So what time did you get in today? You said you got off work this morning?
In from work,
Yeah.
it was a little after 8 because we had a meeting this morning. We have one every payday, an in-service. So I got there right at 8, a little after 8 o'clock.
Okay. And you went to bed then?
I probably didn't lay down until about 9:30 when I laid down.
And what time did you say you got up?
It was around 12:30 or 1 o'clock when I got up.
Okay. What were they doing when you got up again?
They were watching cartoons.
Did they eat lunch or anything, or breakfast or any of that, or?
Well, when I got home this morning, Adrianna said that she had thrown up, and there was some in her bed. There was a little throw up in her bed, and she had threw up one more time. And I asked her, was her stomach hurting? Last night we had some chili cheese hamburger helper, and I didn't know if maybe that made her sick. And she said she wasn't feeling good, but she didn't want anything to eat. But if they got anything when I was asleep, I don't know.
They didn't eat lunch then, that you know of? Or?
No, because we were going to stop and get something.
Okay. Did you say, now, earlier when we were up there, I thought you had told me that they said they wanted to get in the pool?
Yeah, first thing this morning they wanted to get in the pool and go swimming. Mm-hmm. And I told them to let me take my nap, and then we'd talk about it. And I asked them, I said, well, do you want to swim in the pool, or do you want to go get your school stuff? And they wanted to go get their school stuff. But then when I asked him what she was doing, he said she was cleaning the bugs out of the pool so we could go swimming. But Adrianna, she had ADHD and she was on Folkland. And 1 minute she could want to go get her school stuff, and then next she would want to get in the pool. She would go back and forth in what she wanted to do.
Okay. You said, I guess, is AJ had said that she was cleaning the bugs out of the pool?
She was trying to get the bugs out of the pool so we could swim.
Okay. That was after you got out of the shower? Mm-hmm. Okay. Was it when you were, did you say you were doing some laundry or something like that?
I took the towels out of our bathroom and put them in the washing machine, and then put the ones from the washing machine in the dryer, and then that's when I went out and asked him.
Okay. About how long did you say all that time period was?
Usually it takes me maybe 10 minutes to take a shower. And then I got dressed, so that's probably another 5 minutes. And then getting the towels up, taking them to the laundry room, switching everything over, probably maybe an hour at the most before I went out and asked him where she was at to get them to come inside.
How long did you say that was? You folding the clothes and all that?
Well, I didn't fold any. I put them
in the laundry?
Yeah, everything from when I got out of the shower to when I went out the door, it had to be no more than an hour, if even that long.
Okay. Was, when AJ told you she was picking the bugs out, was that right after you got out of the shower, or?
It was after I got out of the shower, got dressed.
Mm-hmm. I mean, was it like 5 minutes, 10 minutes? That's what you had.
No, because I had gotten out of the shower, got dressed, got the laundry up, switched everything over from the washer to dryer, and then that's when I went to the front door.
Okay. So what, maybe 10 minutes maybe?
Well, all of that took about an hour, so I'm figuring that long.
When you went out and found Adrianna, how was she in the water?
She was face down in the water.
Was she on top of the water, or below the water, or?
She was on top of the water. Because I had leaned over the pool and managed to get her toe and rake her close enough to where I could pull her out.
Could she stand up in that pool?
Both of them could stand up. On her, the water come up to maybe about right here, and she would walk around the edge. I mean, she was afraid of water. She was afraid of going under the water.
Was she scared to get in the pool though?
She'd get in the pool, but she'd stay right around the edge of it. Or either she put AJ's little floaties on, and then she would walk out when we were out there.
Could she swim or dog paddle?
Not good enough. I mean, she could paddle to keep herself afloat, but she couldn't swim that good. I mean, we were trying to show her how, but she's always been afraid of the water. She won't lay down in the bathtub.
Do you know how she got in the water? I mean, do you know?
No, the only thing I can think of was she was standing on the wagon, reaching over.
Is that their wagon?
Yeah, that's their wagon.
Does it usually stay right there, or where's it usually at?
When I come in, and even when I went outside and come back in, when they were playing, the wagon was over where they had cut down those trees where the hammock was at. And it's been over there.
Is that on y'all's property, or?
And it had been there for a couple
Woods
days.
are cleared out, or?
Yeah, it was just right there on the other side of where the hammock was at. Was where the wagon.
Is that by the shed, or is that by your shed,
The
or?
pool was right here, and right by the road. They cleared it out, but there's an old hammock there,
Oh, okay.
and the wagon was over there
Close to the dirt road.
because AJ put dirt in it.
Okay. What about the old beer bottles in there? That's broke. You know anything about that?
AJ brought them out of the woods. He'd go across the street where that little dirt hill and bring all kind of stuff out of the woods.
Okay.
But neither one of us drink, so it's not ours.
Yeah, it looked pretty old. It just.
Yeah. And people throw them outside the road right there at our house.
Had Adrianna ever got in the pool before without permission?
I make them stay away from the pool. Most of the time we keep it covered, but we've gotten in it, quite a few times in the past week or so we didn't put the cover on it.
How long have y'all had that pool?
We just bought it maybe a couple months. We hadn't had it long.
How she was scooping the bugs out? Did she have a net, or she just?
I don't know. The only thing I could think was she had that white tub was in the pool, and that's the only thing I could think of.
Okay. You said she had some behavioral problems. Has she had any recently?
Since he changed her medicine and put her on Falkland, she's been doing, a lot better. Before, she wouldn't listen to anything, and she was getting in trouble at school. They were having to call me almost every day. And then I sent her to.
Don't mean to intrude, but your mom is here. Just like you should know. So if you need anything, she's in with the baby.
Okay. Thank you.
How long has she been on this new medication, or how long since they changed it?
He changed her to Falkland last month.
So since she got changed, she's been pretty well behaved.
Yeah. Or about a month and a half ago, he changed her to Falkland.
Who's her doctor?
Dr. Handel in Dothan.
Okay.
She was on Concerta to begin with, and he maxed that dose out, and he switched her over to the Falkland, and we were going to try
family
it.
physician, or
He's just her doctor.
just her doctor? Okay.
Do you have what's your work schedule?
I work 11 to 7.
What's your days off?
the weekends that I work, I'm off Monday, and then if I'm off the weekend, Monday and Wednesday is mostly my days off. They alternate between if I work the weekend, then I'm off Monday. If I'm off the weekend, then I work Wednesday.
So did you work this past Monday night?
Yes.
And you worked last night?
Yeah, I worked last night, yeah.
What kind of shift did you do last night?
11 to 7.
Where is this at?
Bonifay Nursing Home.
How did your shift go last night?
Well, it was fine. There was 5 of us there, so we had a real easy shift.
And you said you got home about 8?
We had, on our paydays, we have an in-service, and then that's how we get our CEUs to keep our license.
How do you travel back and forth to work?
My car,
Which one is that?
the Red Cavalier.
So you came home alone at around 8? What did you discover when you went in the house?
Well, they were sitting there watching cartoons. They were I went to a yard sale, and there was one of the little bed things that you can put in a tent to inflate the thing. And last night I had aired it up to see, make sure it didn't have any holes in it. And AJ wanted to sleep on it, and so it was out. So both of them were sitting on it watching TV.
So AJ slept in the living room? And where did Adrianna sleep?
On her bed. They've got bunk beds.
So they were both on that when you come in? Where was Alan Michael?
He was still asleep in his room.
You said you took a nap at around 9:30? What transpired in that hour and a half there?
Well, nothing really. I changed my clothes, took my uniform off. I cleaned out my bag because I had brought some extra stuff home. I had brought some books. I put them up. Got the book out that I was reading. I sat down and read a little bit of it, and laid it down. And then I went and laid across the bed. I turned the TV on, watched a little bit of TV, and then I went in there and told them I was going to take a nap. And so I turned the TV off and I laid down.
And they were still watching TV?
They were watching cartoons.
Were they being behaved?
I mean, they were quiet. Most of the time they're running through the house, and I don't sleep, but they were watching Boomerang. So they were quiet.
None of them got in neither one of them got in any mischief? Didn't have to get on to them at all?
Because when I got up, I went and looked to see if they had gotten into anything, because they were quiet, but nothing had been messed with.
What time did you get up, you think?
It was probably it had to be between 12:30 and 1 o'clock.
And what did you find them doing again? I know you...
Watching cartoons. They were sitting on the tent bed, and they were watching cartoons.
They weren't eating anything?
AJ did have his Play-Doh, and they had dropped some of it on the floor, but other than that, they weren't doing anything.
You got up, they were still watching cartoons, and then what transpired from there?
Well, they continued to watch cartoons. I got up, I got something to drink. Went in there and I sat down and was watching cartoons with them, and that's when they asked if they could, get in the pool. And then that's when I told them, do you want to go get in the pool, or do you want to go get your school stuff? And they wanted to go get their school stuff, because they had already picked out book bags and all kind of stuff out of the papers.
Okay, then what happened?
I fiddled around a little bit more, and then they wanted to go outside, and they went outside and played. And they were sitting in the dirt playing with his tractors. Right there where that tree's at in the front, in that dirt. That's where they were playing. And me walking back and forth, they stayed there for the longest, just playing with the tractors.
Where was Alan Michael at that time?
Still asleep. He had woken up one time, and he come out, and he had played around with AJ a little bit. It was right after I got up, and then he went on back to his room.
Is there or somewhere in here you took a shower?
Yeah, right after I come in from checking on them when they were outside. And I told them that whenever I went and took my shower that I'd come get them and they'd go take theirs and we'd get ready to go.
Okay. So they had been out. They just got started playing outside, or had they been outside a while? And
They were probably out there about 30 minutes.
and then you told them you were going to take a shower?
Mm-hmm.
Then what happened?
Well, I took my shower. I come out, got the towels together. I got dressed, then I got the towels, took them to the laundry, switched everything over, and then I went out to get them to bring them in. And AJ was in the trees, and I didn't see her, and that's when I asked him where was she at.
He was in that tree?
Yeah, the ones that were the line at the end of our yard, in between us and the house.
Mm-hmm.
And he gets up in that one, and he'll, get probably this far up, and he'll play in the limbs.
What was he? He was out there playing by himself?
Mm-hmm.
And then you asked him about her?
I asked him where she was at, and he said she was playing at the pool. And I told him, I said, well, go tell her to come in so we can get ready to go. And I just, walked through the house to the sliding glass door to look, and I was going to tell her to come on in. But sometimes when AJ tells her, they'll bicker back and forth, so. And I didn't see her, and about that time he was running to the pool, to see where she was at. And he jumped up on the wagon and looked in. He was trying to, I guess, rake at her.
Did you holler at him to go get her out the front or back door?
The front door. And then when I went to the back door, I was on the phone with Alan because I was going to tell him that we were getting ready to go. And that's when I looked out and asked AJ what was he doing, and he said she was upside down in the pool. And then I run out to the pool, and I still had Alan on the phone. And that's when I told him that Adrianna was in the pool and she was upside down. And he told me to get her out, and I, dropped the phone and pulled her out. And I sent AJ for Alan Michael, and then when he come out there, I told him to get AJ and take him in the house and keep him in there. And then I tried to get her to breathe, and I couldn't get her to breathe. The water just kept coming out of her nose.
Did you take any measures to resuscitate her?
I tried to give her CPR. I'm not that good at it. And then he told me to call 911. And then the dispatcher was, telling me, was she breathing? And I told her no, and I was trying to give her CPR then.
Did you have any trouble getting her out of the pool?
Well, she was kind of in the middle, so I had to lean over the side.
But you didn't have to get in it?
I didn't have to get in it. I could reach her from the outside.
Were you standing in the wagon?
No, I was standing on the ground. And the side that I was on, the pool's not even. So it was kind of leaning that way, and I just leaned over.
Did you pull her out about where the wagon's at, or on that side?
No, on the other side. The wagon was here, and I pulled her out right here.
Kind of where she was laying, that area? You didn't have no trouble getting her out?
Mm-mm. I had to rake at her toes to get her to where I could grab her leg, and then I pulled her to me and then pulled her out of the pool.
What about the bruises?
The one that was on, when I pulled her out of the pool, the one that was right here was a very small purple spot. It wasn't nothing like it is right now. And when they got there, they asked me if she had bumped her head or she had had a mark all day, and I told them no, she's not had a mark on her head.
Had she had any bruises?
Well, little ones on her legs, and I think she had one on her left arm or her right arm where her and AJ would fight. But other than that, she didn't have any.
How she could have got any getting her out of the pool? Or?
No, because when I pulled her out, there's nothing hard the way I got her out for her to hit her
She
head.
could have hit her head on in the pool?
Well, the container that holds the little tablets, that's the only hard thing that was in there.
That's what she thinks she was using to dip the bugs out?
No, I think she was using the white tub. I mean, that's the only thing that could have scooped bugs
That was
out.
some that had the tablets in it, though?
No,
Something
there's
else?
the white tub, and then there's the container that comes with the pool to put chlorine tablets
Oh,
in.
okay.
I mean, that's the only thing that was hard that was floating that she could have hit her head on.
Did she ever walk off from the house? I know you said she had that medical problem. That I was wondering if she ever strayed off. You have to go get her.
No, she's never strayed off from the house. I mean, she's never walked off.
Did you ever get in the pool with the children and play with them?
Me and Alan both would get in there and play with them. And we'd swim and, play. And, I mean, they like to play turtle, and that was just where they got on my back, and I'd swim around the pool. But as far as Adrianna, unless she had the floaties on or we were with her, she didn't like to get away from the edge of the pool so that she could hold on. Or either she'd stay at the ladder. Before we bought our pool, we would go to Alan's sister's, and she would do that. She'd stay right there at the ladder. Of course, that one they couldn't reach.
But she's never gotten in the pool by herself before?
Mm-mm.
Have you ever seen the wagon up beside the pool like that?
I don't let them put anything up beside it. I mean, one, we didn't want it to get punctured, and two, I didn't want them falling in it, and this happening.
You normally keep the ladder locked up,
Mm-hmm.
and the ladder's locked up now?
Yes. That was the first rule when we got the pool, that the ladder would stay locked up. And it stays right there in the shed.
Who all does Alan Michael ever get in the pool?
He's not got in it, but maybe a handful of times. Most of the time he's at his Aunt Penny's, and that's Alan's sister. And they go, our four-wheelers are over there because they have a big barn. And he's pretty much stayed over there.
Does he live with y'all, or
Mm-hmm.
does Alan have any other children that live there?
He has a little girl, but she lives with her mom.
How old is she?
I believe she's 11.
What's her name?
Amber.
She just stays over, or sometimes?
She come down for the summer, and then it's every other weekend.
Where's she live at, or where's her mom live at?
Right there in Hartford on, I think it's 167 that goes from Hartford to Wicksburg.
Mm-hmm.
They live on that road.
Did she ever get scared when y'all were playing in the pool?
She never liked for us to throw her up like we do AJ.
Yeah.
So, we really didn't push her to do anything. And then when I started trying to show AJ how to swim, then she wanted to learn how to swim. But I wouldn't try to push it on her because I know she's afraid of the water.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's hardly ever laid down in the tub. I have to take a cup to scoop the water in to rinse her hair.
You saying Adrianna had some ADHD. Does AJ have anything like that, or
Mm-hmm.
he's pretty well behaved, or?
But I mean, like I said, whenever he put her on this Folkland, you could honestly tell if she skipped a
Has she had it
dose.
today?
No, we didn't do it this morning. I forgot to do it this morning. So most of the time, if I forgot it, we would double it the next day to get her caught back up.
If you missed a day, did she drastically change her behavior?
Not drastically, no.
Could you tell did she miss getting more mischief and stuff if she missed it, or?
If she misses her dose, she's real talkative. She's just antsy. But as far as going out and getting in mischief, I mean, she didn't know more than what she did normally, and she really wasn't that bad. I mean, she just do the normal stuff and getting into stuff, but she wasn't a bad child, even though she did have that problem.
she, in the past, got the bugs out of the pool?
No, most of the time me and Alan do that. We'll get over into the pool, while they're in there with us, and we'll get the nets and we'll net it out. But they know that we get the bugs out before we get in the pool. And they wanted to go swimming, so she took it upon herself to go get the bugs out. But the nets, were locked up in the shed with everything else.
I don't have anything else.
I don't have anything else. Anything you want to say? You think we forgot to ask you?
No.
That includes the statement. The time is 8:11 p.m.
Okay, Mr. Raley, if you'll get the transcripts for me, please.
Did you interview Alan Carnley after that?
Yes, I did.
The next day, would you tell us how the investigation in this case?
Well, the next day, I spoke with or interviewed Larry Cook and Terry Thomason. Larry's a firefighter that performed CPR, and Terry Thomason was an EMT at the scene. After that, we executed a search warrant at the residence.
Back at the Carnley residence up in Estill?
Yes, sir.
Were additional photographs made?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to show you what are marked as State's Exhibits 7 and 9. Look at those two exhibits, sir. Recognize those photographs?
Yes, sir.
What do you recognize those to be?
Those are photographs taken at the Carnley residence that day.
This would have been on the 9th?
Yes, sir. The next day.
This time we would move these into evidence as State's Exhibit 7 and 9.
Any objections, Mr. Smith?
Request permission to publish.
And they will be admitted as State's Exhibits 7 and 9.
Would you step down over here, sir? Get these in order if we can.
Yeah, no, I don't have none.
7A, If you would, sir, start with the first one. State's Exhibit 7A. What do we see in this photograph?
That is a photograph of the Carnley residence. That would be from the road in front of it.
Right. Which is the east side of the residence?
This would be the east side, and this would be the west side.
Now, earlier you showed us some photographs of some toy tractors. Can you tell us where those would have been located in this photograph?
Yes, sir. If you see these steps right here, there's a door, there's some steps.
Yes, sir.
The tractors are right there on those steps. You can see the little dots right there.
7B.
That is a photograph of the front of the residence from the mailbox. That would be looking at it directly in front. You can see the toy fire truck that was photographed earlier right there.
All right. 7C.
This is a photograph of the southeast corner of the residence. You can see the air conditioning unit here. This tape measure was indicating the distance from the pool to the corner of that residence.
Can you give us an idea of how far that was?
It was approximately 60 feet.
7F.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is a photograph of the pool from this will be standing on the southwest corner of the tarpaulin looking across the pool.
Now, there's some dots on there, or some stickers on there, some letters. What does that indicate, sir?
The FDLE crime scene unit assisted us, and they located what appeared to be blood on the side of the pool and notated it.
Were some swabs actually taken and sent off to the crime laboratory?
Yes, sir, they were.
And those were the ones that Ms. Clanton has previously testified about?
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me back up here. 7E, sir. Did we get to the one before that?
Yeah, that one. No, sir.
All right. 7D.
Okay. This is a view looking to the north. You can see the residence off here and the edge of the pool right here.
Well, you have to show us where the edge of the...
Okay.
That's the tarp.
Before.
7H.
This is a view from the northeast corner of the property, and you can see the backside of the pool, the backside of the residence, and the shed there.
Now, in this photograph, sir, I can see your pencil. Can you see from this corner right here, it appears that you can see this pool, or at least from looking in this angle, you can see the corner as well as the pool, the corner of this house as well as the pool.
Yes, sir. From the corner of that house, you would be able to see the edge of this pool, and of course, obviously, all of this to this side here.
All right. 7I.
That is a photograph of the dish pan that was in the pool. It's a plastic dish pan.
It's turned upside down.
Yes, sir. It's floating upside down.
7J.
This is a photograph of the shed. It was locked, and you can see the steps inside there.
Can you also see any pool equipment in there, sir?
Yes, sir. You can see the handle of what would go on the net.
And the front of the net, was that over in this area?
Yes, sir. It was over in this area. It's indicated in another photograph.
7G.
Turn it this way.
Well, no, I would like it to be up the way it is.
This is a photograph taken by FDLE that next afternoon. It indicates the height of the outside the pool wall. The height was just under 39 inches high of the outside pool wall.
39.
39 inches, yes, sir.
Okay. Now, how tall was Adrianna, sir?
She was 47 inches tall.
After you've made these photographs outside, were there some additional photographs made inside of Adrianna's room, sir?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to show you what is marked. Just get this out of the way, Madam Clerk. (9A).
Yes, sir. That is a photograph taken by me of looking into Adrianna's and AJ's room.
9B.
This is a photograph taken by FDLE of a view into their closet.
9C.
And this is another photograph taken by FDLE of the view of their closet.
9D.
A photograph taken by FDLE of the children's room.
9E. Now, what would this view be? When you walk in, you look to the right?
Yes, sir. This view would be, the door would be right here. This would be looking to the right. You can see the closet there. There's a wall right here and a wall right here.
9E.
And this is a view taken from the closet looking to the door.
Now, sir, you had some photographs of the toys outside. Did you see any toys inside that day? Can you show us the toys in the bedroom that day, sir?
No, sir, not in these. I mean, there's a chair, but a chair is not a toy.
TV up on
a TV up on in the top of the closet, and no other toys indicated in these photographs.
After that day, sir, what did you next do in regard to this investigation?
We then continued to interview other witnesses.
You can.
Okay.
Would you tell us what, if anything, of significance happened in the next few days following this, sir, in regard to this case? Oh, excuse me, State's Exhibit 18. I'd like to show you what is marked as State's Exhibit 18. Do you recognize this exhibit, sir?
Yes, sir.
What do you recognize that to be?
This is a copy of a photograph that we took from the residence that day. It's a photograph of Adrianna Hutto sitting on Santa Claus's knee. The actual photo had
Did you
AJ.
enlarge this and crop this photograph so it would only be about Adrianna?
Yes, sir, we did.
This time we will move this into evidence as State's Exhibit 18.
Any objection?
No objection.
Be admitted as State's Exhibit 18.
Mr. Raley, now I interrupted you. How did the investigation proceed from that day, sir?
Well, we continued to interview potential witnesses, anyone who had any contact with Adrianna or AJ, and continued the background checks on Amanda and AJ and Adrianna. So we interviewed all the EMS and fire personnel that had any contact with Adrianna to determine if they might have caused any of those injuries.
On August the 10th, what, if anything, did you do, sir?
On that morning, I attended the autopsy of Adrianna.
Anything else in regard to this case, sir?
And so we consulted with the state attorney's office.
Were you continuing to interview other witnesses, sir?
Yes, sir. I continued to.
Did that include Alan Michael?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He was interviewed on the afternoon of the 10th.
All right. On August the 13th, what, if anything, did you do in regard to this investigation?
That's the day I obtained the copy of the 911 call from our 911 center.
And did you also set about to obtain telephone records, sir?
Yes, sir. We also subpoenaed and obtained the telephone records of that residence.
What witnesses, if any, did you interview on that day, sir?
On the 13th,
Yes, sir.
I spoke with some people in Esto who had been around. I also went to Amanda Lewis's former workplace and spoke to some of her co-workers that day.
You were doing background on Miss Lewis. Were you also doing background on the children?
Yes, sir. We traveled and met with the teachers and school personnel.
On August the 15th, what, if anything, happened in regard to this case?
That's the day we executed another search warrant.
Did you make some photographs on that occasion, sir?
Yes, sir, we did.
Did you also see some evidence that day?
Yes, sir, we did.
I'd like to show you what is marked as State's Exhibit 10. Do these photographs accurately depict some items in the house as well as in the yard that day, sir?
Yes, sir, they do.
We will move these into evidence as State's Exhibit 10.
Any objection?
No objection.
Without objection, they would be admitted as State's Exhibit number 10.
Just step down over here. We will show you what is marked as State's Exhibit 10A. What do we see in this photograph?
This is a view of the living room looking towards the back of the house. If you'll notice here in this corner, it's hard to see, it's a shadow there, but you can see in the photograph there's a blue bag which contains a cot, a blue bed.
Okay, like a camping bed or something?
Yes, sir, like a camping cot.
We have some photographs in here.
Yes, sir, I have some more photographs of that.
Who is standing in the doorway there, sir?
That would be Chief Deputy Harry Hamilton.
And what is he doing there, sir?
Looking out the window to see what kind of view he can get of the pool.
Did you make a photograph? Well, you've got 10B.
Yes, sir.
What do we see in 10B?
That is a photograph that I took looking out the sliding glass window at the pool. You can see it very well with a flash. Took a little bit of it out, but you have a pretty good view of the pool from there.
10C,
That is,
turn it around so it's,
that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. That is a photograph of a curio cabinet that is just to the left as you walk into the residence.
so there is some toys in the curio cabinet.
These are, yes, sir, well, collectible cars, yes, sir. Yep.
10D,
This is a photograph of another curio cabinet. This is next to the television. This will be the sliding glass window, sliding glass door that Major Hamilton's looking out. You can see a collectible Barbie and all sorts of
10E,
stuff. Another photograph of the curio cabinet. You can see a toy car down there.
10F,
This is a photograph of that the blue bed that we're talking about. Opened up, and you can see it's blue in color.
10G,
And this is a photograph of the mattress part that comes out, and you can see it's gray in color with blue. AJ makes a statement about a gray and blue bed.
10H,
Yeah. That is a view of the door going into the master bedroom there.
10I,
That, turn around this way. That is a view of the bag that the blue cot comes in.
10J,
That is another photograph of the door going into the master bedroom.
10K. Excuse me, can we do this first?
Yeah.
Well, were these items down below here, or was that one on the counter?
That one was on the counter.
All
That
right,
was-
if you would do that one first, sir.
Okay.
10K.
This is a photograph of the kitchen area, and you'll see a bottle of, I believe it's fabric freshener brand, fabric freshener. It was on the countertop next to the stove.
10G, excuse me, 10L.
This is a photograph of what was underneath the kitchen sink. And you'll notice a bottle of glass plus window cleaner.
10M.
This is a photograph of that bottle of window cleaner.
Now I will show you what is marked as States Exhibit 11A, B, and C. Do you recognize this exhibit, sir?
Yes, sir.
What do you recognize this exhibit to be?
This is the bottle of glass cleaner, the bottle of,
On 10A?
on 10A, yes.
Excuse me, 11A. 11A.
11A, okay. That's correct.
11B?
11B is the bottle of fabric freshener.
Would that be the
That would be
fabric
the one.
freshener that is shown in this photograph, sir?
Yes, sir. That's the one reflected in that photograph.
And then the glass cleaner, the glass plus, that would be the one reflected in the one underneath the sink.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
And then 11C.
That would be the fingerprint standards that they used of, fingerprint standards of Adrianna Hutto.
All right. Thank you. Now, this was on August the 15th. You were looking for that window cleaner, and you got that and sent it off for testing. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
When you got it, sir, what precautions did you make to protect it from being contaminated for other fingerprints, to preserve whatever fingerprints would be on it when you actually took it into your custody?
It was handled with gloves and placed in a paper bag.
Is that the proper way to collect evidence, to
Yes.
have it submitted for latent print examination?
Yes, sir.
What else, if anything, did you do on the 15th in regard to this case, sir? Yes, sir.
Also, that search warrant also noted what toys were in that residence.
On the 16th, sir, how did the investigation proceed on the 16th?
Well, on the 16th, I confirmed the whereabouts of Amanda's husband.
This is Joseph
separated
Lewis?
from- Sorry.
Joseph Lewis?
Joseph Lewis, yes, sir. I confirmed he was at work that day. I also traveled to Poplar Springs School and talked to some of the teachers there.
Did you continue to do your background checks on Adrianna,
Yes.
AJ, as well as the defendant in this case?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to show you what is marked as State's Exhibit. What will be marked as State's Exhibit 14. Do you recognize this exhibit?
Yes, sir.
What do you recognize that to be?
These are the detailed call records of the phone from the Conley residence.
Where did you obtain those from?
They were obtained through a subpoena by Bell South Phone Company.
When you say call detail, what do they show, sir?
They show the list of numbers calling the residence and call from the residence and calling the residence and the length of time.
This time we would move that into evidence as State's Exhibit 14.
Any objection?
Everything or just that one page there?
It doesn't matter. I think the one page is really what's relevant.
Right.
We have that highlighted.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. We've got,
It's for the whole month.
right, a whole bunch of records.
Any objections then to just being the
Yeah,
one
let's just
page?
narrow it down to
I don't have a problem with that.
the one page that is relevant.
And that one page will be admitted as State's Exhibit 14.
Okay. Perhaps the clerk can undo that when we have a break with a stapler. At this point, we would move that one page. And what page is that exhibit, is it, sir?
It is page 23 or 26.
All right. We would move that into evidence and request permission to publish.
And without objection, it will be admitted as State's Exhibit 14.
If you would, sir, if you have that pencil so you can help focus our attention. I know we've got it highlighted there, but call date, that seems pretty obvious. That would be the date of the call. Call time, would you interpret that for us, sir?
Yes, sir. This first one here is highlighted as time is 14:30, which will be, of course, 2:30 local time. It's a call. The calling number is 263-0759, which is the phone at the residence, and it's calling this 800 number, which is actually a calling card for long distance, but the call through statements and all, we were able to confirm it went to this local marketplace, which is the workplace of her boyfriend.
So that would indicate what, sir?
That she had called at 2:30 to his workplace and stayed on the phone for approximately 4 minutes and 11 seconds.
Okay. So if Mr. Carnley indicated that he was talking to her sometime around that, and Ms.
Yes, sir.
Lewis said she was talking to Mr. Carnley up at his work address, that would confirm that.
Yes, sir, that would be confirmed.
All right. The next telephone call, sir.
The next call is a call coming from this 334-886-2406. That is the phone number of this local marketplace, and it's calling the residence there, that 0759.
And for how long? For how long?
For a minute and 44 seconds.
Now,
Yeah.
do these telephone records show all of the incoming and outgoing calls on this particular date for this particular phone?
All but one, and that would be
Which
the
one would
911
that be,
call.
sir?
The 911 call.
That is not reflected on here?
No, sir, it's not.
What time did that 911 call come into to your dispatch here in Holmes County?
Approximately 2:38 p.m.
2:38,
Yes, sir.
right? How do you know that it came in at 2:38, sir?
Well, we have a record of it and obviously a recording. Due to this being a Bell South carrier and our 911 system is on a Sprint carrier, their 911 operating systems are not compatible to trace a call. It allows it to go through, but there's no record.
But when the call was made to your Holmes County 911 operator, did an address show up for that 911 call?
Yes, sir. She had an address on her screen of that
So
residence.
would she have been calling then from the landline at that address?
Yes,
The
sir.
land telephone line?
Yes, sir. She
And
was
is that the
calling
records
phone.
that we are seeing here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you would, use that pencil, sir, and insert where that 911 call would have came in on these records.
Would have come in between this first call and the second call there. Between the 1430 and the 1438.
All right. Then what do we have, sir, after that? Do we have any more calls?
Well, you have the one at 1438. You have another one from the Slocum Marketplace at 1448. It lasts for a minute 48. And then you have a final third one from the Slocum Marketplace at 310. And it lasts for 1 minute.
All right, if you'd have a seat, sir. What else did you do in this case, sir, in regards to investigate this case?
Well, like I said, I continue to investigate the background of Adrianna and AJ and Amanda.
Could you pull that microphone in over in front of you?
As I continue to do a background investigation of AJ, Adrianna, and Amanda. I'm talking to co-workers, teachers, people that knew them.
Were you able to locate individuals on tractors, sir? Did you
Yes,
start
sir.
looking for anything like that?
Yes, sir.
Tell us how the investigation proceeded.
One of our investigators spoke with Scott Kirkland and took a tape statement from him. And he confirmed that on August the 8th, he was clearing the right of way there by the residence.
And the helicopters, what did you find out about helicopters being in the area, sir?
With the assistance of FDLE, I was able to obtain flight records from Fort Rooker that day, and they did confirm that at about 2:15 local time, there was an Army helicopter in the air over Esto.
Ultimately, when was anyone arrested in this case, sir?
On September the 5th, 2007.
And who was that, sir?
That was Amanda Lewis,
Would you identify her for the jury?
right there.
I'd like the record to reflect the witness has identified the defendant. If I could have just a moment. Judge, so you know where we're going, I have just a few more questions of this officer, then he'll be ready for the cross-examination. And after that, we're going to briefly call Dr. Minyard. The counsel has agreed that we could just call her rather than have her drive back and ask her 2 questions, Judge. Two to 3 questions.
We're going to do that on your phone.
Whatever you prefer, Judge.
His phone is off.
His phone is off.
Well, it's on vibrate. It's probably a good idea to turn it off. Yes, sir.
Dr. Meader will be available.
Yes, sir. On the court side.
The jury is back in the jury box. Mr. Bassford, you may continue with your direct examination of the officer.
Sir, I'd like to back you up a little bit. On August the 10th, did you retrieve the clothes of Adrianna Hutto?
Yes, sir.
Where did you retrieve those from?
From the medical examiner's office in Panama City.
I'd like to show you what has previously been marked. Absolutely in the evidence, substitute made it up, states exhibit 12. Do you recognize the items in here, sir?
Yes, sir, I do.
What do you recognize those to be?
That is the shirt and shorts that Adrianna Hutto was wearing.
Then going back to the August the 9th, this is the first time you actually went in the house, and we've seen the photographs that you made inside the room.
Yes, sir.
Would you tell us how that room smelled on that occasion, sir?
It had a stench of urine that you could hardly stay in that room. I mean, you had to get a breath and go in there and then come right back out.
And finally, sir, what is marked as State's Exhibit 19B. What do we see in this photograph, sir?
That is a still from the videotaped interview with A.J. Hutto, and he's placing his left hand over his face, describing how his mother drowned his sister.
That was what we saw previously today.
Yes, sir.
Just a still photo from that.
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Previously seen this in evidence. No further questions, Judge.
Mr. Smith?
Judge, I don't have any questions at this time, but I will be recalling it.